Welcome to the channel, Richard Nwanji. I hope you're having a great day. And we're still in the euphoria of the Super Eagles having a very beautiful victory against Gabon, where they defeated Gabon by 4 goals to 1. Goals came in for important and expected players like Victor Osimhen, and we'll talk about Eduke, who also scored for the Super Eagles in that particular game, and not forgetting the man they call Alco Adams, which gave Super Eagles that 4-1 victory. It was a very tight one. After the Super Eagles had this one draw after 90 minutes and had to play extra 30 more minutes, and 30 more minutes was enough for Super Eagles to score 3 goals to wrap things up. On the show today, we'll talk about the 4 best players against Gabon. Which 4 players did so well in that particular game? I will have a countdown of the 4 players and I will tell you why those 4 players were exceptional. Don't feel free to comment, tell me what you think, and of course feel free to disagree with me on my own 4 players list. If you feel these 4 players did not deserve to be on my list or my countdown was inaccurate, please tell me. Let's have a banter around the 4 best players against Gabon. Alright, let's go in. Number 4 will be nobody else but Ndidi. Ndidi was so brilliant in the game against Gabon, and we must all agree Ndidi is coming to become that big man. Now, in my pre-match, assessment around Ndidi, I spoke about the fact that he can be a bit sloppy or maybe slow sometimes. When Ndidi was really instrumental in the midfield of the Super Eagles. Remember Ndidi's beautiful assist for Victor Osimhen to score that beautiful goal. He didn't go in, but we saw Ndidi give some kind of classic and beautiful passes that were just very good. Ndidi was in the midfield. He was that big man that controlled the whole midfield. Make sure the midfield was under his total control. So Ndidi will be our number 4 player. He was a captain of the Super Eagles team, and he was really the man that manned up that midfield to make sure that when things were going sour, he was there to make sure he showed a bit of an experience from the midfield. So of course, he will be the number 4 player on the list. Number 3 will be nobody else but my guy Chidera Ejuke. Now, if you have followed up when I spoke about Chidera Ejuke, why he was invited, you will understand why I said so. If you had watched him now, Chidera Ejuke came up with all the big play. He came up from the bench, and when number 6 Jesse, we could see him everywhere with his killer passes. He was giving beautiful passes, running everywhere. He was a big threat to the Gabonese defense, and this was the reason why I spoke about him coming to the team. This was exactly what I spoke about Chidera Ejuke. The fact that he would be a big threat to the team. If he comes in, the fact that he could play and he could create chances. Chidera Ejuke was doing that exact pattern where he didn't just play the game, he also created chances. We saw him creating a lot of chances for the Super Eagles in that particular game. Running from the flank, or whether he was playing from behind the striker, Chidera Ejuke was everywhere in that particular game. So we must talk about his brilliancy, his performance for the Super Eagles against Gabon. Of course, Ejuke is the man. I told you about him. He has the pace, he's skillful. One-on-one, he will beat the player, and I some believe that even against DR Congo, maybe the coach should start Chidera Ejuke because he came in from the bench and he had an instant impact. Would I ever forget the fact that he even scored a goal? Yes, that's the most part of the whole story, with the beautiful goal Ejuke scored. That goal was just wonderful from him. I love the fact that he was able to put that goal in. The pass came through and he was well positioned to score that particular ball. So Ejuke takes our number 3 on the list. Number 2 will be nobody else but Frederick Benjamin. And I must be sincere with you, I would have made Frederick Benjamin the number 1 on the list. Frederick Benjamin is just 20 years, but playing football like he is 40 years. He played with so much experience. Benjamin Frederick was everywhere in the game against Gabon. We saw him play from a defense to the midfield, and also played as even giving that assist for Victor Osimhen. But let's talk about Frederick Benjamin and the fact that he was able to hold Aubameyang. Imagine giving a 20 years old player the big task and saying that his work was to hold Aubameyang, take Aubameyang down. That was his work, and he worked well, in that part, holding down Aubameyang. Aubameyang did not have a pathway in that game where Aubameyang, was marked out by a 20 years superstar. Now, in my pre-match assessment, I spoke about the fact that he could play for different parts of the field, and I also spoke about the fact that I was seeing him playing in the central role. Yes, he played the central role and he did so well. And everybody is now asking Benjamin Frederick Benjamin, who is this youngster? And I tell many people, I'm telling many people that have been speaking about Benjamin Frederick for a while and how good this very, very young star who came from Kaduna State or who grew up from Kaduna is. And thanks to Moses Simon who discovered this particular talent. He's just wonderful. No single Super Eagles player has played more time more time in the field in the last 4 games like Frederick Benjamin. Frederick Benjamin has played the Super Eagles last 4 games and he has played complete 90 minutes. That sounds shocking. Yes, apart from maybe him, I will talk about him and maybe Wabali, but to talk about consistency in play, he has played every single minute of the last 4 games of the Super Eagles. He has been that consistent. All right. From there, let's move to number 1 player and nobody else but Victor Osimhen. He sits in number 1 position for several reasons, and I will tell you some of the reasons why he's in the number 1 position. Number 1, obviously, he scored 2 goals in the game, and one of the reasons why he's in number 1 position will be the fact that Victor Osimhen did not give up. The fact that he had a one-on-one chance to score in the last minute of the 90, which would have been enough. Let's say the extra minutes of the 90, which would have been enough to wrap up things. He missed it, but did not give up. In the after the match, he spoke about the fact that he told the players that, come on, I was going to just get myself together and score a goal. And he scored 2 goals in the space of how many minutes? And that shows how good Victor Osimhen is. Victor Osimhen in that game was not only just being able to score goals, he was able to even create chances for other players to score. And I was speaking about the fact that why I love Eric Shell's combination of Akko and Victor Osimhen, it boils down to the fact that any of those players could stand up. Victor Osimhen was almost marked out of the game, but chances that he had, we could see him create that goal or create those goals for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So he's in number 1 position, the most informed striker for the Super Eagles. In the last 2 games, he has scored 5 goals, 3 against Benin, 2 against Gabon, and someone will ask how many against DR Congo. That is how good Victor Osimhen is. And no doubt, Victor Osimhen is at his peak. The zenith of his career, he has hit peak, and we are loving what Victor Osimhen is bringing in to the table. So Victor Osimhen sits on the number 1 position. Nobody else but Victor Osimhen. He was just unique. He was beautiful. He had a beautiful play, and someone say, thank God he scored 2 goals. If not, if Nigeria would have lost that game, many would have held him responsible after he missed that last minute chance he would have used to bury everything. So Osimhen is in number 1 position, and shout out to Victor Osimhen. We keep on supporting him. Thank you for making the Super Eagles dream for the World Cup alive, because Victor Osimhen made that dream alive and giving it one more lifetime. He gave it a lifetime on that lifetime for Victor Osimhen again in Morocco after the game against Gabon. Hopefully against DR Congo, he will give it on that lifetime. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens on the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We are super happy and we are still celebrating their victory against Gabon. Tell me, who are your 4 best players in that game? If you don't agree with my own list, tell me who are your 4 best players. Don't forget to subscribe to Richard Nwanje's YouTube channel.